This is both super exciting and super terrifying. It's probably the case with a lot of homesteading things. Get your first chickens at that time, it's super exciting, it's also kind of scary. That's how I feel today because I think I have picked it. I think I've chosen. It's pretty cold, I better grab a sweatshirt. Another sweatshirt. I'm pretty sure that I have the spot that we're going to build our house picked. If you heard our recent podcast where we interviewed Logan from Heirloom Builders, then you know the 9 different things you need to consider before ever choosing a home location. What's the first thing you do when you show up to this plot of land?
The first thing, spend time there, really observe. I mean, if you can.
In that podcast episode, we talked to Logan, who lives off grid. He's lived off grid for 10 years. He's been a general contractor for almost 20 years. He's got a ton of experience. He told us some great advice on choosing a location for your home. And it's about a lot more than just like a nice view. Basically, if you choose the right location, your house could be warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer. It can get more energy from the sun's rays and the wind power. And if you choose wrong, it can like destroy your house. Obviously, that's like exaggerated. Like over time, your house will crumble sooner. I've gone through Logan's entire list. He talked about 9 different things you want to make sure you do before you choose a house location. Check this particular spot hits every box, but there's a 10th additional thing that Logan didn't even talk about, and I have got to see if I can fix it. The first thing that to make sure you do some observation. And we've been very fortunate. We've been able to do a ton of observation here at Sunny Mountain, our off-grid property where I've just arrived to. And I'm going to be fueling up the Gradall because I'm gonna be starting to dig again, which is exciting. I love digging. What can I say? I'm the son of an excavator.
I'll tell your son, I'll tell Heather.
Do you have any thoughts about digging?
You are the father!
Oh,
yeah! One of the reasons I decided to do the pond project first was to give me a chance to spend a lot of time here on this property throughout the day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, getting something done. I wasn't just like hanging out, but being able to observe the whole time the property and learn about it more, how it works. Boy, it's really windy. I gotta wait till this wind dies down. This is windy. That's one of the points he brought up. Observe the wind, and yep, I've been observing the wind. The second point that Logan said to make sure you address before you go and choose a location for your house was permits. And it's so windy here, I'll just let Logan tell you what he said.
Think about permitting. It may be that you've got this beautiful acreage that's totally affordable, but they won't let you build on it because it's in a floodplain. You might have just made the cost of your project jump $50,000.
So the good news for us, I've gone and done that. I've talked to the people at the town halls. I've talked to the people at the permitting office. We have 0 setbacks, 0 limitations here. It's really nice. So that means we're wide open. We can put the house anywhere we want up here. Didn't really help us choose a spot, but it's good to not have those setbacks to worry about. I'm filling this machine up with 5-gallon buckets at a time of diesel fuel. That is not the most efficient way to do this, but I don't have a choice. I don't have a pickup truck with a fuel tank in the back or anything, so it's 5 gallons at a time. It's kind of slow, but we'll get there. The next thing, it's up there, the thing that's blinding me right now. We don't call it Sunny Mountain for nothing. Logan assesses the property for solar. And there's a couple different elements involved. There's assessing it for like a solar power if you're doing an off-grid solar system. And then there's what they call passive solar. So essentially what you want to do is find a south-facing part of your property that isn't being blocked by trees, where you'd get good sunlight throughout the winter. And it'd be nice if you had a couple of well-placed shade trees that would keep your house shaded in the summer. This is where we start to actually get a spot on the property picked out. Anything back there where the pond is downhill of Sunny Mountain. So if we were to put our house down on the pond side too low, our hill would block a lot of the first morning sun, and we would like to have some passive and solar electric here. So we don't really want to put the house down here or down on the northwest side of the property. Basically, we'd like to be on the southern side of the property, and I don't want to be on the southwest side. If you put your house facing the southeast, you can get that first morning sun. It can warm your house up before you even get out of bed. Comment below, are you a wake up when it's dark kind of person, or are you a wake up when the sun is up kind of person? What's your preference? What do you have to do? My preference is to wake up early, and that's what I do. I wake up early. I have to run to Tractor Supply. I need a grease gun so I can grease up the Gradall. I need a battery. My battery died in my Gator. Then I'll be back and I'll start digging. The next thing that we covered in that podcast was finding a spot. Like when you go camping, you don't want to camp at the top of a hill, and you don't want to camp at the bottom. Top of the hill, it's too windy and exposed. Bottom of the hill, it is cold. That's where cold goes. So that helps us pick the southeastern face of Sunny Mountain, not at the top, not at the bottom, kind of the sweet spot in the middle. And he even mentioned how beneficial it was to be on flat ground. That's where we're starting to really dial this in. We've got this little spot, really perfect. Okay, I made it to Tractor Supply. I need a grease gun so I can grease up the machines. I've been borrowing Danny's grease gun, but Danny's not on the job anymore. I need to get some grease for the machines. I gotta get some diesel while I'm out. I gotta get some dog food. I gotta get some cow feed. A lot of stuff. I'm gonna run into Tractor Supply, get what I need, come back, and we'll talk about the next bit of this puzzle here. Okay, mission accomplished. Got what we needed at the supply, and now we are off back to Sunny Mountain to see if we can fix this problem that we have with our site. Holy smokes, man, everything is so expensive. I stopped at 2 stores and I stopped to get gas. Gas was almost $100. Each store $200, man. You cannot get out of a store for less than $100, $200 for anything right now. It is killer. Oh my. You know what? Like, one of the things I'm trying to do with this project right now, and this is, I want our videos to be encouraging to people. We put out a video recently where we talked about like running our business on YouTube, how much money we make from it, how we run a business from it. And I was really just like taken back by all the nice comments, how many people said we have helped them. And it made me say, like, I want to double down. I do this channel, I do these videos to help people. You know, I run my business through it. I make a living. I could make more money doing something else, but this is a nice way to make a living and help people. And I want to double down on the helping people. I want to be more helpful, more encouraging. And man, right now, if you want to do this, if you want to like start homesteading, do a homestead from scratch. If you're watching us and you're like, I wish I could, I just can't afford it. Everything is so dang expensive. Don't feel bad. Just do something. We started 12 years ago. I learned to hunt, Kay planted some tomatoes. So even if you can't like get land, even if you can't do anything right now because of the cost of everything, and you're just watching and thinking someday, don't wait for someday. Just start now with something small and simple and not expensive. You know, if you don't have the money to do the off-grid homestead or get a cow or whatever, that's okay. Learn to hunt, learn to butcher, learn to can. Just do something, start, because in a decade, in 12 years, you will be so much further than if you just say, someday I'm gonna, someday I'm gonna. Because honestly, 12 years gone by, I don't have a whole lot more money than I did 12 years ago. But I got more skills, I got more experience, and I'm able to leverage that so that I don't need quite as much money as I might have to do this 12 years ago. So hopefully that helps somebody. Let's get back to Sunny Mountain, stop spending all the money, and let's get something done. I got grease, I got fuel, I got batteries, I got dog food. Who could ask for anything more? Brand new grease gun. Oh no. Some assembly required. It's annoying. I don't want to buy a chore. Oh. Huh. Okay, this looks pretty simple. I think I can handle it. So a grease gun is the reason I had to buy this today. When you're working with a piece of heavy equipment, they have all these moving parts, and all those moving parts can get, you know, metal on metal. It can get dirty and grimy and start to grind. So you use a grease gun. You pump grease into all the moving parts, and that way your machine keeps moving smooth and nice. So I've been borrowing Danny when we were building the pond here. Danny had a grease gun, he had a fuel tank. It was pretty sweet when Danny was here on the site. He had all the things we needed. I don't have a grease gun, I don't have a fuel tank, but now I have a grease gun and some fuel tanks. This is kind of like what the off-grid project is all about. Let's see if I still remember how to do this. Dad, let me see if I still remember how to set up a grease gun. Let's see. There we go. The off-grid project's like, it's all about leaving behind the convenience infrastructure. Cap off. DIYing it out of the back of your vehicle. In. Yes, looking good. Did it work? Hey, it worked. We got grease. Let's do this. So what we do is we take the end of this gun and we stick it on all these little tiny grease fittings, and you pump out the grease and keeps the machine working good. And that's what I need. I need the machine to be working good so I can dig my foundation for my house, which is gonna go right over there. If I can solve the one problem. And I promise I will get to it in a second here. Gotta finish greasing the machine, then over we go. So you gotta do that pretty much every time you run the machine. Go through about a tube of grease. It's about $4. And you know, that took about 20 minutes to do. But it's part of maintenance. Keep your machine running good, things running smooth, so you can dig foundations for houses, dig ponds, all the stuff you got to do. Keeps the machine working. It's important. That was always the job my dad had me do when I was working as an excavator with my dad's company. When I was younger, we'd get to the job and he'd pull up and say, all right, Oz, grab the grease gun and grease the machines. And then I was the grease monkey. So here I am. When you're off-grid DIYing it, you're the operator, you're the foreman, and you're the grease monkey. If you've been following along, you've probably noticed I haven't been here digging in probably about 2 weeks actually since we finished up the pond dig. And deer season came in. Actually took my daughter out. She got her very first buck, which was awesome. 9-point buck. So I took a little time for that. And also I've been spending a ton, I mean a ton of time working on the plan for the house, figuring out what size it's gonna be, what kind of building. We'll get to all that in future videos. This is the moment of truth. I haven't run this thing in 2 weeks. It's a cold winter day. I really hope she fires up, but no guarantees. Let's see. Okay, that's a good start. Battery sounds good. Oh, that's not great. I checked the engine oil. It looked good. This guy's having a bad day. See, it could be worse. I could be having a day like that guy who's mildly disappointed that he just lost a hand. Aw, there it goes. See, it could be worse. Well, we're DOA. Dead on arrival. A little frustrating. Yeah, a lot of frustrating. That's how this stuff works. So, you know, who do we call? See if I can get Mac the mechanic back out here. I'm gonna have one sick machines broke down montage by the time this project is over. Welcome to the southeast side of Sunny Mountain, okay? Southeast is that direction. We're not at the top of the hill. Top of the hill's over there. We're not down at the bottom of the hill, down in the valley where it's cold and there's water. This location right here, while not being level, is level-ish. It's flat-ish for a mountain. The sun rises over there. I know this. I've been here in the morning now when the sun's coming up. Sun rises up over that direction, tracks this way throughout the day. This to me is just a beautiful spot to put our house. South-facing wall, big windows. I want to take advantage of that passive solar that Logan talked about. So I want to have south-facing windows over there. That sun, as it climbs in the morning, shines through in the winter when it's down low and it warms up the house. But in the summertime, when the sun's higher in the sky, we'll have some overhangs on those windows to block it so we won't get the house hot in the summertime. Up on the hilltop there, we could plant a couple deciduous trees. Is that the kind we want to plant? Deciduous, the kind that isn't a pine tree. We'll plant some of those trees up there. Maybe we'll plant a few oaks or maples or maybe some fruit trees that can get nice and big and leafy in the summer and give us some shade, but then in the winter, lose their leaves and let that sun come through and warm us up. I love this spot. I think this is a perfect spot. It's the best spot I can figure on Sunny Mountain, and the best part of it, the best part of waking up is taking a look at that view while you get your coffee. Yeah, look at that amazing view. I can picture like morning coffee on my porch. It's amazing and beautiful, but there is a problem. It's not a huge problem. It's not even on Logan's list. It wasn't even on Logan's list, but it is definitely on our list. One of the reasons we chose Sunny Mountain was because we wanted privacy. And this spot seemed a lot better a couple months ago when we first came here. Actually, Kay was with me when we showed you this property, and she said, look at this beautiful view, look at this beautiful spot.
I win.
You can't start the video with you win.
Yes, I do. Look at this.
But there was something we didn't see then that we can see now, and it's right all down there. Neighbors. We've talked about it before. Privacy is pretty important to us where we are. They are far away. They're across the valley. But you can see right up here, and I will be honest with you. One of the ways I chose the location of where I wanted my house, well, I call it the naked test. And you can imagine what's involved in the naked test. Basically, no, I'm kidding. But yes, I did the naked test, and back in September, this location passed. But I would not pass the naked test now. Those neighbors would definitely see me. They'd think the North Star was shining from the mountaintop. So, I have to fix this problem because I don't want to build our house where we don't pass the naked test. So this is what I need to do. I've already started here putting some material. I need to cut down where I am here. I need to cut all this, go down deeper, and put that material behind me and build a berm there. A nice big berm, about 3 feet more than what's there currently. And then on top of that berm, I want to plant a very specific tree. You don't want to go with just any evergreen if you're trying to get yourself some privacy. There are winners and losers in the evergreen game. Right here is the berm, and on top of this berm, I'm going to be putting Norway spruces. Norway spruces are the perfect evergreen for what we want here. If they'll grow well in your area, they do grow well in ours. Norway spruces are not self-pruners, whereas some trees are self-pruners. That means if other things compete with them, they'll drop their lower limbs and other things will compete with them. So you'll wind up with 6 feet high privacy, but down here, wide open. We don't want that. So we're not going with pine trees, we're gonna go with Norway spruce. They're also not eaten by deer. Deer don't like Norway spruces. So that's a benefit because there are deer on this property. And they are an evergreen. So all year, all season long, on the east side of the house where the far east side, there's not really any sun to be blocked. We'll have privacy, a berm, some Norway spruce trees. We'll have perfect privacy. It'll be great. All I have to do is make sure I can build the berm high enough to get the trees and still block our house finish height. So when I get this machine working and I can actually work again here on Sunny Mountain, which unfortunately is not in this video, we'll start on the berm. We're gonna start digging down for our foundation, throwing it back to build up our berm, and prepping where in the hopefully, well, the jury's still out on to whether or not I can plant Norway spruces this time of year. My buddy who's a landscaper says no. The guy who wants to sell me Norway spruces says yes. Who would you trust? Comment below. Anyway, I would love to have some planted before we start putting the house in because I want to know they're in and they're ready, but I might have to wait till springtime. I feel really bummed right now. I so badly want you to all be able to see the next step start. I want to start. I want this project to continue. The pond is done. It's catching water. It's looking nice. It's time to start digging for a house. It's time to start moving forward. I want to keep this project going. We have, like, I don't know, here's the stop clock. What is it, 340 something days to go. And it feels like a lot of time, but those days are clicking away. Yeah, what do you do, right? Things are gonna break. It's part of what you could expect if you do an off-grid DIY somewhere, an adventure like this. We will get back up and running. We will keep going. While you're waiting for that next episode in this series to come out, listen or watch the podcast I did with Logan. You can click there to do that. I skipped one of the points. It was the point about a driveway. If you make a mistake on your driveway, it can literally cost you like $50,000, $100,000. It's so much money that you could lose by making a mistake with the driveway. So go back, listen to all 9 points. Logan was an awesome resource. It was a great episode. And we will see you in the next video when we will start digging and doing this. This is happening.